Hello, Frostburg State fans. Welcome into week 4 of the Frostburg Sports Awards, and I have our male athlete of the week, Lincoln Ikwubuo from the football team, had 5 catches, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a big win against Concord. Lincoln, I just want to get your overall thoughts on how you played over the weekend.
I just felt like I had a pretty good game, It was just one of those moments that I was able to step up and stuff like that, Just slow season and stuff like that with a big group and a whole lot of talent on our side of the ball. Anybody can spark any week. So, I guess this week was just my week, I guess.
And so last week it was Christian Thornton who came up with the big 2 touchdowns. Want to go back a couple years here, and then you come into Frostburg 2017. You actually play in a good majority of the games, some couple big games where you had a few catches and some yards, but then 2018, 2019, you really stepped up and were one of the leaders in the receiving corps. What changed for you from that freshman season stepping up into the sophomore and junior years?
I guess the thing that changed for me was the senior leadership. When I was a freshman here, we had a couple senior leaders that I could fall behind, that I can really get a feel and get a sense of the game from, being a freshman in college and stuff like that. So, you always look up to the seniors that's ahead of you. So I guess after them leaving and seeing what they were doing, their leadership, and after them leaving, just stepped up. It just stepped up into the opportunity that I had, I guess.
And now you're one of the senior leaders on this team now. You and Malik Morris and Kyle Belak and Zay Giles, really your 4 wide receivers, where you and Malik are both seniors and Zay and Kyle the graduate players. So what have you kind of brought on to give the younger players on the team from what you learned when you were a freshman and now them coming in and what they can learn from you guys?
I still want to include Christian Thornton on that list because he's also a senior too. But just by we have a group of wide receivers that's talented, 5 wide receivers that are all seniors. So we have a group of young guys that all look up to all of us. They see exactly what we do. We're all different people. We all lead different ways. We all set different examples, and they all see it, and they really they get a sense of everything that we're doing. And I feel like it's going to carry over to when we leave and then they step up, they're going to get that same type of transition.
We talked before this about you saying that, kind of every week then someone else has been stepping up for the offense in terms of the wide receiving core. Last week it was Christian Thornton. Malik Morris had a couple big games as well. And I talked with Christian last week, and he said that in this offense, you really have to be a selfless player. You have to work for the team, and your moment will come. It's just you got to be ready to work for it. You can't be on the sideline and pouting like, oh, I'm not getting the targets. Is that something that you've seen as well?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, we like we said, we're a talented group. We're talented, even after the 5 of us, So when it comes to those type of moments, you just gotta really stay patient, wait your turn. You can like you said, our whole motto, one bucket, we're all one group. So, if you're pouting and stuff like that, whenever it's not your time, you might not be ready when your turn comes up, And everybody understands on our team that we all can spark at the same time, So that's just pretty much how we play for it.
Now, you mentioned one bucket there, and it's your guys' motto for this season. We've talked about with Coach Fitzgerald of what it means to him. We asked Christian last week what it means to him. What does one bucket mean to you?
One bucket means to me is we have a collective group. Our bucket is our collective group. Every day we work, we practice, we lift, we do all types of things to prepare ourselves for the game. Everybody's putting their own little bit of their individual effort, their individual work, their individual 1% of getting better into the team's bucket. Because that team bucket is the most important thing that we have. Is our team. That's our bonding. That's how we get along. That's our family. And that one bucket is what we display every game on Saturdays. That's what we let out every game on Saturdays. And that's what we feel like. It gives us our motivation as a team to go out and play well on Saturdays, and it gives us a team win, and we're all happy at the end.
We'll get back to this past Saturday and your first touchdown catch, which was your first one of the season, where you're in the back of the end zone and Graham threw a nice pass, but the defender in front of you actually jumped up, and I was surprised that you actually were able to maintain your concentration that well to bring it in and get both your feet in, dragging down near the sideline. How was your concentration levels in seeing that ball when the defender goes up and he almost tips it, but you're able to catch it in the back of the end zone?
Yeah, just a lot of things that carry over from practice and stuff like that. Graham put the ball in a great place. on the field, I can tell when the defender jumped. I knew he wasn't in range for it, so it was just about concentrating and just catching the ball. Graham put it at a place where only I can get it. Of course, the defender was away from him. He still jumped, and it was probably still 5 feet over his head. So, it was just only at a place where I can get it, and it was just at the moment where I had to make a play.
And then the second touchdown that you got, another perfect throw from Graham, where you're able to go and get it, and then you almost lose your footing. But then I think, going through your head as I was calling the game, it was that you realized that once you caught your footing, you were going to beat that guy to the end zone. So what was going through your head during that play where you see the ball, it's in a great spot, and then it's just maintaining your balance and getting into the end zone?
It's funny because I told a couple guys on the sideline after the play, they was asking me like the same question that you asked me. And in my head, it's like, how plays, like when you're on the field, a play can a 5-second play can happen, like it could be like 30 seconds in your head. So like in my mind, I was just focused on the ball. Graham put it in a great spot. I was focused on the ball. I thought I was going to be tackled right after. Ended up realizing that I had my balance, and I was just like, oh my God, like in my head, and I was just like, I just ran afterwards.
And then one play that we do have to talk about, unfortunately, here is the pass that was to you. You were 5 yards in front of the end zone. You're laughing here, but it bounces onto your hands and then onto your chest, where it looked like it was just a moment where you were trying to figure out where you were on the field, trying to get the ball and score. But then just a few plays later, I believe, you ended up making another catch, and you just kind of put that play behind you. And remember, Colin and I were talking about that on the broadcast, that it's a play where you just got to put it behind you, go out the next play, and make a catch on the next play, and you did that a couple plays later. Was that sort of your mentality as well on that one?
Yeah, definitely. I know, like, previous years, like, I would usually have a problem with playing the next play. Fitz has definitely, that's something, like, he's harped on me for the past few years about not letting my emotions get the best of me when I have a great play or have a low play, just to stay level-headed and mellow-headed and stuff like that. So, like, just after the play, just knowing, like, yeah, like, I messed up, like, it was obvious, like, but just got to continue going, just keep the same mindset, keep going, like, we still got a game to play.
Now, I wanted to bring up one player who we've talked about a couple times, but Graham Walker, who now is in his sophomore year of playing. And you've dealt with a few quarterbacks throughout your career here at Frostburg. What does Graham bring to you guys that maybe others either didn't bring, or something that just Graham has that's unique about him?
I would say Graham's unique characteristic compared to the rest of the quarterbacks I've played is his relentless ability to want to win and want to be involved in the win. Like we see Graham, he's limping around and stuff like that. He's hurting and stuff, but he's still in there fighting. Like he's still in there fighting, giving everything that he's got just for us to, play well, for us to play, play good, for us to come out with some of our wins. Like he's playing like a dog right now. We appreciate him for that because right now we're undefeated, and he's a big part of that right now.
Yeah, he's really improved as the season has gone on, and we'll go into this upcoming weekend. We're back at home against UNC Pembroke, a team that we beat in the spring, their first time in the MEC. They're coming back here. It's going to be a long trip for them, but then the week after against Notre Dame. What is the preparation going into this week where we're coming back home? You don't have to deal with the bus issues from the past weekend. It's not the 4-hour drive down to Concord. So what's your preparation now coming into this week?
I say our preparation coming into this week is probably it won't be too different compared to the rest of the weeks. Every week we're playing grown man football. Every week we have an opponent that's coming in. We're in D2 football. You never know what can happen any week. So we got to prepare ourselves to our best ability, especially with our next 2 weeks coming up. We got to make sure everything's sharp. And that's pretty much what our mindset is really going towards. This week, taking everything a day at a time, making sure everything's sharp, mentally, physically there, all of that going in. We'll worry about this week first and then next week afterwards.
Well, Lincoln, I want to thank you for coming on here for the Frostburg Sports Awards. I want to give you congratulations once again for your Player of the Week. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to come and talk to us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all too.
All right, well, stay tuned. Next up, we'll have volleyball with Beverly Braun, who's our Female Athlete of the Week, up next. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Go Bobcats. Back here on the Frostburg Sports Awards, and we have our female athlete Beverly Braun from volleyball after they picked up a couple of wins over the weekend over Bowie State and Kutztown. Beverly, I just want to get your thoughts on your overall play over the weekend in those two matches.
I think our team collectively did really well. I had one of my highest scoring games for myself, so I'm proud of myself for that, but I couldn't have done it without everyone else around me, so I think my whole team did really well.
Yeah, the team did do very well, and one thing that I wanted to bring up, in that you guys over the past couple of years, obviously in the spring was difficult with COVID happening and getting into the conference play and not having a ton of time to work with one another. Now coming into this year, we've started to kind of pick up some games where I noticed in the spring and the early fall, the performance didn't necessarily match the results, where you guys were playing well, just couldn't pick up those points and losing the close matches. But now you're starting to learn kind of how to win. Is that kind of what you see as well with the team?
I think it's like a confidence thing, because when you said it's like been super close. When it's like super close like that, it's not even like the other team's better. It's just kind of chance. And I think after winning a few games, we're a lot more confident in closing out the game and actually like winning, and it's been working. So I'm happy about that.
So we'll go back about a week, and last weekend in the first home match that you played with fans. Just what was that feeling like to be able to be at Bobcat Arena now? You're in the college game, and fans were finally back in the stands in kind of a full, there are no restrictions really with how many people can be in. What was it like playing at home?
It's a lot more exciting to have like people you know, and then a bunch of my parents can't make it, but a lot of their parents there. I know that like means a lot to my teammates. I just like seeing people from around school there to support us. It means a lot.
And the first win against Lock Haven for you guys, what was that feeling like as well? Just finally getting that first win. You guys all jumped and hugged each other on the court after it was pretty much a comeback win. But just the feeling of finally getting over that hump.
That's really what it was. It was like finally, like thank goodness, it's about time. But I was like super excited to have like my team by me, and yeah, it was really exciting. And I just think that was like the start of us like going to have a more like winning record.
And going back into this past weekend, the first game against Bowie State, where it's a 3-0 win for us, 3 straight sets, was our first one of the year. So far, only one, but one that I wanted to bring up and what I noticed in the stats is that you won the third set by a landslide, really, and just were able to put them away pretty quickly, where, again, in other games where we've gotten out into leads and the other team comes back, but you just put them away and got that win. So, what was that third set like to just be like, all right, we don't have to worry about 5 sets anymore. We can finally get them done.
Well, I think it was nice also because we had a game right after, so it's good that we got like a little more time, and it wasn't like a bunch of playing all the way to like 23, 25, or even going to a 5th set. So it's like, I think we took care of it like we should have. And I think we can use that as an example for future games, so we don't have to keep pushing 5 every time.
And for you personally in that game, you had 19 kills, and the next closest on the team only had 5, where you say, it's a huge team, but really that win, getting the 19 kills for you personally, was it just like, Haley as the setter was just kind of setting you up the whole time and you were just really feeling it that game?
She's doing a really good job setting me. I think she likes to set people who are like on in the moment, which is like really smart. So I think she saw that I was on and kept setting me. So it was like a lot of due to her more than me, but she did a really good job and everyone else did.
Wanted to bring up Haley actually as the setter coming into this year. She's kind of taken over the starting role. Where in the spring it was Edwina Linez, and she still is a valuable member of the team. She still will play in matches, and they both bring something different to the team. But what's it been like so far playing with Haley, where she's coming in, learning a whole new team that you guys have been together for a year? What has she sort of brought to you guys?
I think she's brought a lot of experience. So she's been at 2 different colleges, and she's a little bit older. So I think a lot of experience. She's very athletic. Like, Ed's the same way. I think with either we would get like similar results. But I adore Haley. She's actually one of my best friends on the team, and I think she's amazing. She's a very good team player too. And it's very clear she wants the best for us. It doesn't matter if she's in or not in. So I really like her, and she does a really good job.
Yeah, we did the interview with her a couple weeks ago when she was the female athlete of the week, and I talked about Edwina with her, and they're very supportive of one another, regardless of who's playing or who's not, and it seems to revolve kind of around the whole team.
Yeah, she's very team-oriented, and like I feel like even if she didn't play like a single point like in any of the games, she'd be the same way as she is right now. She's a very team person.
And then going into the second game of the weekend against Kutztown, a 3-2 win for you guys, another comeback where you're down 2-1. You're able to win the last 2 sets. You yourself had 26 kills in that match, where again, it's one of those longer matches where you kind of keep up the stamina and be mentally ready for that entire time. But what was it like, that comeback feeling and being able to, again, finally put a team away?
I think it, again, had to do a lot with confidence. I actually went into the 5th game like knowing we would win and stuff. So I think, but with winning like 2 matches before, against Bowie and Lock Haven, I was like, oh, we're actually going to win this. And I think we all went in like knowing we can win, and then we put them away. Like, it wasn't super easy, but we still did. And so it was like a really good feeling to get like 2 wins in one day and going back on the bus ride with like a successful trip overall rather than just 1-1 or losing both. So.
Another thing I wanted to bring up from that game was you had 19 digs in that game as well. And it's something that I noticed going back to the spring even, is that you often will get double-digit digs in your matches, where the defensive part, obviously people will look at the kills and the attacks and all the offense that you bring, but really it's your defensive qualities that also has really impressed Coach Kylie Heyne as well. Is that something you've always kind of, hung your hat on? If maybe the offense isn't going well, you still have the defense behind you?
I actually feel like I struggle most with defense. I think like I've been really working on it, so I am like trying, and I like to hit back row also. But yeah, I feel like I've gotten better at defense, and it's really helpful to have like our libero there and a right back who are really good at covering their spots, so I have less to worry about. And so yeah, I like being back there. It is really stressful, but I feel like I can hold my own, hopefully.
One last point I wanted to bring up is I talked about head coach Kylie Heyne, where obviously coming into your first collegiate program all the way out from California. What has Kylie kind of given you that maybe not your club coaches or your high school coach was able to give you, that she can be like, hey Bev, go out and do this, and give you that confidence and just motivate you?
Yeah, she gives all of us like a lot of confidence, and when I'm having a rough game, she's very quick like to say like just like I don't even know what like stop thinking about it, next point, next game. And she also has a lot of experience, so whenever I'm having an issue, you can watch her go straight to look at her. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, please help me. And she always has something to like tell me or like what I should do for the next play, so it's really helpful. Coming
up into this week now, we're back at home for the week. Aldous and Broadus on Tuesday, and then Friday against Wheeling, one of the top teams in the entire region. Aldous and Broadus, a team that we did the doubleheader in the spring, and it was 5 sets the whole way, just a long match. But what's your guys' preparation now? You're coming off, like you said, the bus ride home was fantastic. You got the 2 wins. What's kind of the team's mentality? How's the preparation going into this week?
I think right now, at least for me, I'm really focusing on AB since it's like the first one. I think since last year we went to 5, we know we can definitely compete with them and hang, and I feel like we have gotten a lot better and a lot more competitive and also more confident. So I think we can definitely win if we just take care of our side of things and work with what we've been doing in practice and putting it into the game also.
All right, Beverly, I want to thank you once again for coming on to talk to us. Congratulations, Female Athlete of the Week. Hopefully we can see you again at some point later this season. I'll be with you with Brett Fogel statting your game, so we'll be right in the front row to watch you guys. But we appreciate once again.
Thank you.
All right, well, stay tuned. Next up, we will have Beverly's head coach, Kylie Heyne, who is our Coach of the Week. Thank you for watching the Frostburg Sports Awards for Week 4, and go Bobcats. Back on the Frostburg Sports Awards, and I'm joined by Kylie Heyne, head coach for volleyball, as they picked up 2 wins over the weekend in the Kutztown Tri-Match, a 3-0 win over Bowie State, and a 3-2 win over the host Kutztown. Coach, I just want to get your feelings overall on your team's performance this past weekend.
It was good. I think going into the weekend, after having our first home tri-match with Lock Haven and UPJ and getting that win under our belt, and then going into this weekend with Bowie and Kutztown, we were feeling really good about it. And then, being able to come home, I told the girls when we got off the bus, that was like a really different feeling. It was a good Saturday feeling getting off the bus that time. But yeah, they played really well.
Wanted to talk about that tri-match from last week, where you pick up your first win here at Frostburg against Lock Haven, and doing it at home in front of all the players' parents and the fans that were there. Some of the athletes came out to support. What was the overall feeling when Beverly gets that ace against Lock Haven, and you guys, all the players jump on the court and then win, and you're jumping up and down with Kendall on the sideline? What's going through your head when finally that point went down?
Finally, I think that's honestly like the first feeling, but I guess that's the reason it was just kind of like a finally feeling, is because all this season, through preseason, through our first 2 away tournaments, it was just like all of our sets have been so close. We're playing some great competition, a lot of good PSAC schools, and we're that close, and it's just like, man, if we could just finish. and then we get that finish, and it's a 5-set match. So, and I think it's finally that reward that I feel like the girls have worked so hard for, and it's just the beginning. So that's also exciting.
Wanted to talk about that, where you said about those close matches where, going even back to the spring, where the results didn't necessarily match the performances, where you guys have played really well in a lot of games and just maybe lost that point or two, especially this year with a lot of those, going into essentially extra time and the extra points. But now the results are kind of now matching the performances, where you guys have settled down, and we just talked to Beverly. She said a lot of it is confidence. Is that what you've seen from your team as well?
Yeah, it definitely is. I think, once you get that feeling of, oh, I can do it, or like this group of people that are on the court with me, on the bench with me, that I practice with every day, that we can finish, we can deliver, we are good. I think that it comes a lot from like your mental strength and being able to say like, oh, I've been in this situation before, I know I can come out on top, and then just delivering those results. And unfortunately, we never had that outcome in the previous season. So this year it was very much, I don't want to say the same in the beginning, but more or less the same. Like, you push, you work hard, you're doing everything mechanically that you're supposed to do correct. But then it's just that mental aspect of like, oh, I am a good volleyball player. I do have the confidence, and I can put this ball away in whatever situation I'm in. So, and I think we've come to realize that as a team, probably at one of the best moments too in the season. So.
Going into now this past weekend again, and Bowie State, the one thing that I noticed when I was looking at the stats is that the third set was really a blowout set, in that in terms of you guys just put them away there at the end, where we've gotten out to some leads in sets, and then other teams come back and they make it close, but being able to put that away and be confident, like, all right, we're up by 12, 13 points now, we got this settled, and we just put them away. What was, the mentality of the team, and that, being 3-0, and we're just like, all right, that's a win.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think that with volleyball, there are so many different situations that it's just like 3 sets to no sets, that's a big win. But then also being able to like get a lead on a team and keep a lead on a team shows that mental strength, that capacity of like not letting a team creep back in. And it's something that we talk about all the time in practice. Like, we can't be in a certain rotation, in a serve-receive rotation for more than 1 or 2 points. And having that ability to be like, okay, it's time to get out of this, and then move forward, that's huge. And then, but on the flip side, knowing when maybe we're down 2 sets, or we're the team that's behind in a set, that we can crawl back 1 point at a time. And, I think that honestly, it's been it's been great, these however many 12 matches, I think, ish. Yep. 12 matches that we've played so far. We've really been in every single kind of situation that you could think of. We've played 5-set matches. We've played 4-set matches. We've been down and then come back to win a set. We've been ahead and another team has come back to win a set, whatever it is. And like, being able to close out is such a big thing within a team, like accomplishing that kind of goal.
You just mentioned that you've been in every type of set, and I looked again at the Kutztown game, and it was very reminiscent of the Lock Haven game, where you guys are down 2-1 and you come all the way back to win it in that third set. So again, and the mentality of the team of coming back, being able to win. Now Lock Haven having to win those 3 straight points to just stay in that match, whereas against Kutztown was not necessarily easier, but we're able to do it, and being able to come back where maybe in the spring, not to discredit anything, but may have been a loss for us. Is that sort of what you saw as well? Yeah,
I think Bev stopped by the office right before she came in here, and she said that this weekend, when we went to that 5th set with Kutztown, she was like, I knew we were going to win. Like, I just knew that was going to be the outcome. And that, like, hearing that is a complete 180 from what it was last year. And just hearing a lot of the girls talk on Friday night at practice, they were like, yeah, we're going to win both tomorrow. And that wasn't always like and it's also the way that they're communicating about it too. It's not like we have to win this or whatever. It's the confidence that like, oh, this is going to happen because we now have been through these situations. We now know we can do it. So like, that's awesome just to hear how the talk has changed too within the team.
One player that really stood out to me in that Kutztown game, and one that stood out for the rest of the year, was Haley Delore, setting, got 49 assists in the Kutztown game, which is her season high. and I've talked with her on the awards show a couple weeks ago. I just talked with Beverly about her, where it's a lot of her leadership and her calmness, where she's kind of a senior player on this team, even though she's a redshirt sophomore playing wise, but she brings a calmness, she brings an energy where she just wants to support everyone, even if she's not playing. She got hurt in a match or two, but she's always very supportive of the team.
No, I love Haley. I think that she's been a huge light to the program too, and we were very lucky for her. Just because of like the schools that she's been at previously, and just the knowledge that she has for the game and the love that she has for the game is so awesome. And for her to be that kind of leader where her maturity kind of can spread a little bit, because that was one of the biggest things last year too, and we still have a pretty young team, and to be able to like mix in some maturity and like the belief and the faith that like, hey, I'm going to give you a ball and I know you're going to do something great with it. But then also she's been a huge like aggressive asset for us too, where she can put the ball away also. So there's moments where she'll take the opportunity to get herself out of a serve receive situation and just dump the ball and get a kill. And that's fantastic. I think that like going into conference play, it's been interesting being able to talk to some of the coaches that that Frostburg's played against and asking them, so like, what's your scouting report on us? Because we're not going to play them again until next year, and just hearing their input, and then being able to talk to referees after a match too. They're like, you have some really nice players on your team. Like, you're going to start piecing stuff together. And, I think all of that information is great to help build that confidence within the team, but then also help us, me and Kendall, like kind of piece together like, okay, this is what other teams are seeing. So let's make sure we work on our weaknesses the best we can and continue to improve on our strengths. So, and I think Haley's been such a huge support aspect of that, from supporting both me and Kendall to her teammates. And like you said too, like even taking her out and having her on the sideline, she's a great role model on the sideline too. So, like anywhere you put her, she's going to be a light in that atmosphere.
You talked about a couple of the players that other coaches said you have a nice group of players, and obviously when you look at the stats, and Haley's going to get a lot of the love, and Beverly's going to show up on the kills and the digs, but a couple of unsung players that I noticed in the matches, especially in the tri-match, was McKenna Hauser at libero, and then AJ Thompson and Sydney Hammond, both from middle hitter and the outside hitter, or opposite side hitter, excuse me. But there's three players that they kind of are the glue that holds the team together, where you notice them on the court. They don't have the stats, but when you look at our team play, you're like, I noticed those three a lot.
Yeah, no, I think just in general, defense doesn't get a lot of love, which they should, because that they start the play. So McKenna, Fiona at right back is really stepping up. Jenna has been a great player to be able to put in any kind of situation, and she excels. Bianca, like all of our defense is really able to make a play when we need it. And then you mentioned AJ, McKaylee, our other middle. She's kind of flourished within the past like week or two, and I think that's one of our biggest things. We really want to be able to keep them involved and utilize them and get them to be a huge asset, because looking at stats, you do see like Bev is the one that's getting the most kills or the most attempts, and Jackie's in there too. I think, as a coach, it's always been my dream or like my push for us to not have like one go-to hitter. So when a team is scouting us, it's like, okay, they have this outside that's pretty good, but you know what? Their right side is getting a bunch of attempts, and so are their middles. Like, what's our game plan? And they don't really know the best game plan, because when one person might be off, we're able to rely on 5 other people. And I think that slowly and surely, like, the pieces are definitely coming together, and there's those people that are really stepping up. And then even girls that maybe see the court for a couple of rotations or a little bit in each set, they're working hard too, and they're continuing to push each other in practice, which is, that's all a coach can ask for. So I think everyone's really falling into their role and continuing to push each other.
Now, coming up into this week, we have Alderson Broaddus at home on Tuesday, a team that went 5 sets in a doubleheader on both matches back in the spring, and you've just been reminded of that. And then Wheeling on Friday, who obviously you know at your time from D&E as well, and from your first stint at Frostburg, one of the best teams in the region. But those two games coming up, what's the team preparation for this week, riding sort of that high off of 2 wins?
I think it's awesome to be able to go into conference play with the weekend we just had. I think that, I don't want to even think about AB last year. That was, every match last year was one of a kind for every single team, every single coach. Like, it was just different. Last year was just different. But, we're watching AB film from their last matches. And, I think every single match this season is going to be a good competition. And I truly believe that we'll be able to come out on top if we can deliver what I know our team is capable of. But I'm excited. I think just from my time at Davis and Elkins, and that kind of competition, AB has always been a little bit of a rival. I think it's just going to be an exciting match, and I'm excited to get them at home first. Wheeling, I think that they are a top team, and they've really grown as a team this year. They have a lot of girls within their program, so I think that they've been going through a little bit of rebuilding also. So it's just going to be interesting. And then we have Notre Dame on Saturday, so we have a really packed week. But, I just think that there's been so much change within the MEC volleyball world that, really it's anybody's game to win, which is a perfect opportunity for us.
All right, Coach, well, I want to thank you for coming on this week, and congratulations once again picking up the 2 victories, your first win here at Frostburg last week as well, and hopefully we'll see you on the show again at some point.
Yep, thank you.
All right, well, that wraps up week 4 of the Frostburg Sports Awards. We'll be back next week. Thank you, and go Bobcats.